September 30 is finally here, so we have been waiting for the arrival of this Woven Kingdom fourth book of this series, that is Every Spiral of Fate. And today we're going to be reading this, and I'm going to be telling you what this book consists of. I literally finished this book in one day, not kidding. Like, I sat and I read the entire book in like one sitting. So I'm going to be explaining it today. You could call it a reading vlog or just an explanation, and it's going to have spoilers. Let's start. But before you begin, can you please do me a favor and subscribe to our channel and like this video for more book reviews? Thank you. So here we go. The first few chapters open with Cyrus, who is suffering. As we know, let me recap what happened in the last book. That was These Infinite Threads. And what happened was the book ended with Cyrus performing the blood oath that binds him to Elise. So he's now in a full, deadly, completely lethal blood deal and is bound to listen to her. Otherwise, he'd be going to hell, yeah. And Iblis has been planning some things which will be revealed, and it's just going to be super awesome. I really love how Mafi put together the entire plot and the characters, and I love Cyrus and Elise. I love all of the characters except maybe some. So we're going to be covering all that in today's video. We have Cyrus, who is still newly adjusting to the blood bond that they have created. And he's still new to it and hasn't really adjusted yet. And he's suffering and like feeling like he's in hell. And he's still like very stubborn to not go to Elise. That could cause him some sort of relief. But he doesn't want to go to Elise because for obvious reasons. And Hazen has been trying to convince him to get to her to find some relief, and Cyrus is just being stubborn about it. And on the other hand, we have Elise, who has planned their wedding and everything, and they had to delay it 3 times because Cyrus just wouldn't budge or just want to even attend his own wedding. And that has been bothering Elise so much because she has in some ways started to care for Cyrus, who doesn't want to be near her. And I guess that is a huge hit to an ego to her, and she's just very upset about it, calling Hazen again and again, but Hazen is like, Your Majesty, he'll agree, I promise. But yeah, Cyrus doesn't just agree. So anyway, Elise finally couldn't take it anymore after 3 delays and breaks into his room. After doing so, Cyrus has been feeling well and relieved, and we have a funny scene where Elise is like sitting in the balcony watching the dragons and the beautiful view of Tulan from out her castle, from inside her castle, and Huda just comes along with the dragon and is like, Cyrus has run away. Have you taken no notice, girl? And Elise is like, no he didn't. And then we see that Elise brought Cyrus to her rooms with her, and Cyrus is currently taking a bath. And Huda is like, why would he be taking a shower at your room? And Elise is like, we're betrothed, but then again, there's nothing going on between them, so it's like a very funny situation, would I just say. And while they're bickering on about that, Cyrus is like, just comes in from his shower, but in a towel. So yes, that was a very awkward situation, and Huda was like, how dare you, do you have no manners? And we have a Cyrus and Huda bickering here, and Cyrus is very much avoiding Elise still, and Elise has been trying to get her attention, and finally shows him his wedding dress, which he does not take. Because, yeah, I think I don't need to state the obvious. He just doesn't want to take anything from her because he thinks that will ruin him further. Oh, I have shorts where you can view the quotes that Cyrus had in this book that totally broke me. Yeah, you can check it out. I bet it'll break you too. Alright, so moving on. Alicia is like really upset that Cyrus didn't accept her wedding gift. And Cyrus is like, how can you give me something like that when you're already ruining me so much? And he's like, nope, I'm just gonna wear the black clothes that I usually wear. Which I think he looks good in, but that's not his wedding attire, so everybody is very doubtful about that. Like, they're not liking it, but Cyrus is like, it's my own funeral. I think I'm allowed to wear that. And Alicia starts feeling bad that she signed up for this, and she was like, damn man, maybe I made a mistake, because she's starting to feel guilty, and yeah. And everybody's really appreciating Alicia in her wedding dress because she looks amazing, and we all know Cyrus is bewitched by her. And yeah, something happens that breaks the situation, the entire beauty of the situation. And that something is called Cameron. To be honest, I don't really like him in this book. You'll start to see how. You'll start to see why, actually. So, Cameron is like, wow, you look amazing, my bride. Which, obviously, Alicia is not. But, you know, Cameron was always from the previous book like, oh my god, after killing Cyrus, you're just going to be my wife, and then we're going to rule 2 kingdoms together. And Alicia is like 50-50 about that, like, should I not? I don't really know, she's not sure. And Cyrus is completely heartbroken how this is really happening in front of him, and Alicia is still like, okay, Cameron isn't bad, but he could be amateur sometimes. And the wedding ceremony takes place, like, they take off like a rocket in the sky. So they say their vows. It's a very mystical scene that is, it just felt so amazing with the fireworks and everything. You know, it gave a complete fantasy vibe that I really very liked. And Alicia gets a visit from Iblis while they were saying their vows. And Iblis is speaking in his coded language like he always does in the series. Iblis is basically devil, did you know that? So, basically what he says, this cryptic lines that I'm reading out right now. The devil has plotted and planned for this day, for the resurrection of Jinn, for the destruction of clay. We come to you now on this joyous event, not to deliver you harm, but to express our content. We come to you now in a gesture of peace, to offer best wishes to the bride of Iblis. So, yeah, you can guess right now, by the last line, it is very much hauntingly clear that something is going to happen that's going to make Alicia bride of the Iblis. That is very concerning, considering Iblis is considered a creature that has lived for centuries. That's supposed to be concerning, yes? Also that he's a creep? Let's move on. So, in the scene, everyone is like very shocked that what happened, and it seems like only Cyrus is able to understand what's been happening to her, and he holds her in place so she doesn't fall down, and the audience thought it was very romantic, just as well as the readers did. And then, in the ceremony, after they've taken their vows, Cyrus had refused to dance with her, which has been bothering Huda very much. And so Huda was like very upset and insulting Cyrus, and I think Huda does it in the entire book. She is always insulting and saying bad things to Cyrus, and this scene is like no exception. And then Cameron comes along and asks Alicia to dance, and Cyrus is like, okay, I can't do this anymore, and just heads back to his own room. And when he does, it just causes him so much pain because the blood band actually allows Cyrus to always stay close to her. The farther he gets away from her, the more pain it causes him. So it's like when he gets to his room and Elise is still at the ceremony, he's in a lot of pain and he's been telling himself, no, I can do it, no, I can do it. And then Elise breaks in. And then she apologizes to him. And Cyrus is like, please don't apologize, I don't deserve it. And then Omid breaks in and saying that Dean was acting very out of character. Everybody also comes in, and we learn that it was very difficult for the others to find Cyrus because he hadn't moved into the king's chambers that was supposed to be his. All because he was too guilty to let his mother, who was the previous queen, move out. So like, yeah, sorry. And so they examine Dean, who seems to be very drunk, and then they find out that Omid says that there was a Snoda. In case you didn't know, Snoda is a servant. And this Snoda asked them to... So the Snoda was trying to deliver Elise the drink that she was carrying, and Dean was like, hey, let me see that. And then he smells the drink, and then it falls out of his hand. And then Cyrus flips Dean around, and we see that he has a huge gash on his back, like he's been stabbed. So Dean has been poisoned. Then we learn from a very reluctant Cyrus, who is usually very private, but has enforces information out of him that actually that poison was very much black magic and something even worse than that. So it's like very dangerous. And then they find out warnings that they should not be looking forward to what they came to do. Cease their search, which of course our characters weren't really ready to do. So they started preparing for leaving. So they left for the mountain. Let me see what it's called. Anyway, sorry, I couldn't really find the name on it. Anyway, the Magic Mountain, which will gain Elise her childhood power that she's meant to inherit, like her queenly powers. And they're going to head to that mountain now to regain her legacy that she lost in her childhood. And so they go onto it, and we get a lovely scene between Cameron and Cyrus, where Cameron is like, how do you know all these? And Cyrus is like, I was a diviner. And Cyrus is like, oh, I thought diviners were only to serve the king and make trinkles. And Cyrus was like, you think that diviners are present to make you trinkles? And yeah, that's just pretty much Cyrus washing Cameron without soap or water. Yeah, so I really love their bickering, because to be honest, Cameron is a little annoying with, telling Cyrus that he's going to die and how he's going to take Elise as his bride later and everything. Like, come on, man, don't be this. I thought you were good in book 1. And they travel to the mountains by dragons, which is a very beautiful scene. And they reach the mountains. We get some very lovely scenes then between Cyrus and his dragons. The dragons are very... the dragons have a great sense of humor. And then they reach the mountain. And then... oh. So before they go to the mountain, they stop at a place where Cameron's old house used to be. I don't really remember, but yeah, they own the place, and Cameron's mother was there, and they have a very interesting time here. Elise meets all the people that have sworn fealty to her or are like loyal to her, and she's awestruck by how many people that was. That was probably like 20,000 or something people who were like ready to protect her and be her soldier and everything. And Alizi was like so grateful for these people. And we get many interesting scenes with Cameron's mother. Sorry, I've forgotten her name. Who used to be Huda's stepmother's friend. So at first they don't start around very well, and there is hinted possibilities for Cameron and Huda ship, if you do ship them, because I kinda do, and I think they're going to end up together by the end of the series. Admit it, they have chemistry, right? We get many interesting scenes, and Cameron reveals how her mother is obsessed with reading destinies, and once during tea time, she's reading the destinies by the tea leaves, whatever these are, tea leaf reading, whatever. And Cyrus is very uninterested in seeing his own death again, so he knocks his cup over and leaves the room. And later, when Alizi is asked to visit Cameron's mother one more time for another reading, her fate first revealed, Alizi's fate or destiny first revealed that she would have to die by the birth of a crimson blood or something that was already happening to her. Her blood that was clear at first has become red now for reasons that I'd rather not explain. In short, it was the blood bound. And the second time when Cameron's mother asked Alizi to come around for a second reading, Alizi's hand knocked the cup out. And Alizi was like, I swear I didn't do it on purpose. I don't know why that happened. And Cameron's mother is like, that's a sign your destiny is changing. That it's more complicated than just one reading. Foreshadowing, Cyrus's fate was changing. Okay? And did I mention that in order to infiltrate, in order to gain the magics and her legacy from the mountain, there are 5 people needed. 5 people who will have to swear to be ready to die for her, for Alizi, if needed. And so Omid, Huda, Dean, and Cameron, was there someone else? Oh yes, I remember, Hazan. Yes, Hazan. With Hazan, there are 5 members that have agreed to go to the mountain with her, and the mountain will test each of their truth of their statement that they're ready to die for her. Not literally die for her. It's just a matter of speech, but it has to come from the heart. And yes, so they go into the mountain, and one by one they all touch the door. The mountain scene is by far the most coolest scene in the entire series. Trust me. And so many things happen, but I'm not going to spoil all the fun for you. But so many fantasy things happen, so you must read it. Anyway, they go to the door on the mountain, and then one by one they all swear fealty, or I don't know, just touch the door and prove their loyalty to Alizi, that they'll be ready to die for her and everything. And guess who messes up? Cameron. Cameron is touching the door and nothing happens. And he touches the door again and then nothing happens. And Cyrus, my boy, is of course ready to take the advantage of seeing Cameron in defeat. He's like, yeah, well, you keep saying that you're ready to die for her or are loyal to her, but the mountain knows that you really were ready to let your granddad kill her in book 1, so very... And Alizi's like, what, you were ready to let him kill me? And that was your most wanted loyalty? And I'm very glad Mafi added this scene because it just proves to all you Cameron and Alizé shippers that actually Cameron and Alizé is not possible. They're not getting together. And it's time for Cyrus to really take thought. Because even though Cyrus can't offer his life to the mountain the way the others did, Cyrus uses his powers to break open the door for her. And then everyone is like, how are you able to open the door? And then he's like, because when you sent your grandfather, actually Cameron hadn't sent his grandfather, but anyway, he didn't stop it. And when the soldiers were ready to go and kill her, Cyrus was present there, trying to protect her. So yeah, we all know who's going to win this love triangle. And anyway, before going into it, Alizé is like really hurt by this confession because she was head over heels for him and everything. And then Cameron is like, okay guys, I understand, I made a mistake, I am sorry. But how can we trust Cyrus because he's been like doing everything perfectly. He touched the door, it opened. He knew what to do, when to do what, and just everything just synced as if it was entirely planned. So how is it that Cyrus knows everything? Because he's bound to the devil himself. So how do we know that we can really trust him? And Alizé is like, okay, enough. I think we have seen that Cyrus is really trustable and he's really trying to protect Alizé. And Cyrus, on the other hand, is more like, wait, you're kind of making sense. Because he really doesn't know what Iblis really wants. Cyrus is only like doing whatever tasks the devil is telling him to, doing the assignments that the devil is telling him to. And Cameron's voice kind of makes sense that why are all Iblis's tasks related to her? And also they all get to know that Alizé has been getting visits from devil since she was a child, and so it ties directly to the conclusion that Iblis really wants something from Alizé, something dangerous. And that would not be a smart idea to follow along. And then Cyrus thinks, he's in a blood deal with Alizé. So if he fails to protect her and let her go in, he shall be free because his job was to let Alizé go through that mountain, his final job. But then he wouldn't complete the deal of his blood deal and would go to the devil himself. And on the other hand, if he does protect Alizé and stop her from going in, and that doesn't fulfill his last assignment, so he goes to the devil anyway. So the devil kind of like checkmated him. And he's like, oh my god, what do? I have ruined everything. So Cyrus just explains everything to Alizé and the others, that why he's doing it and how this deal came along, and like we get this backstory of how Toulon used to be such a poor kingdom then, and that king of that time, centuries before, made a deal with Iblis. That someone of their blood, it could be any descendant in any century or any time, that would have to agree to some favors to Iblis in exchange for his kingdom to thrive. And that king had agreed to it, and then centuries upon centuries, king after king, descendant after descendant, father and son or daughters, everyone has followed per this tradition. And yeah, the jinn really didn't do anything, didn't come to take his favor. until Cyrus's father. And Cyrus's father came to him one night when he was, I don't know, maybe 17, when he was like trying to. It was his last day, after which he would permanently leave home to become an official diviner. Yes, I get it right now. And that day, his father came up to him and just explained everything to him in very short time, and then told him to take it, to agree to the devil, because upon refusing, his the Iblis came to his father, and his father refused, and then got condemned to a place in which he'll be like half dead and half alive. Like we've seen in the previous books that he is still being tortured by the devil, just as much as Cyrus is. And so the devil gave Cyrus 5 works, or else everything of Tulan will be over. That's why he's been doing all these works. But then he also confesses how he never wanted to do anything bad, and also warns that this secret that he just revealed is going to cost him his life. Cyrus also warned them that after his death, Iblis will try to take over his body, because what does Iblis lack? A body. He doesn't have a face, a hand, or a head. He's just some bodiless spirit walking around on Earth, and like he needs a body, and Cyrus's body is the one he'll possess after killing him. So Cyrus broke the deal with the devil. He apologized to everyone in his last moments, even Cameron and Huda, and especially to Elise. There are some very sweet lines. I'm going to post them later in shorts. You can see them. And then he dies, so that is very like tragic. But not for me, because I knew that Cyrus was going to come back alive. And just as he said, he just turned into a complete mummified black version of him, like, and completely burned out and died. That was a very tragic scene, and everybody seemed to have respect for him then. And Cyrus is now seemingly dead, and it's the devil who woke up. And Iblis walks up to Elise, paralyzes all her friends, and just talking to her how he'll make her his bride, and how they'll rule over the kingdoms together, and how he'll reduce Elise's power to a puppet, to a living puppet who will listen to him, and how he'll rule over the humans, and to let the jinn thrive. And like Elise is like calling to Cyrus with her mind-reading powers. Did you know she had mind-reading powers? Yeah, it is revealed in that book. Sorry if this was a late reveal. I'm just really remembering everything out from my memory. And she's like calling out to Cyrus with her mind-reading abilities, and there is no answer, but she can feel some tugs. So what she has come to conclusion is that Cyrus is not dead yet, but he's weakened, like his subconsciousness is weakened, but he's still alive. And the question rises, why hasn't Iblis killed her yet, or done something to her? That's because Cyrus was using his last moments to fight the most deadliest force on earth to protect her. He was putting on a fight. And Elise was just calling out to him, but still, Cyrus was still too weak for that. And so Elise made a very difficult decision in that situation. She took out her dagger. So Elise calls Cyrus with her powers one last time and tells him to hold on no matter what happens. And then forced Cyrus's body, that was currently possessed by the devil, and then held him in his knees and stabbed him repeatedly in the heart. Healed him again, and then stabbed him once again. Healed him again, and stabbed him again. And this continued, and he was like, leave this body right now, make a deal with me, or I'll make my life devoted to torturing you until my last breath. And Iblis wasn't used to taking pain, he was used to giving pain. So after some amount of stabbing and healing, he finally gave in to Alize's wishes. 1. To leave Cyrus's body once and for all. 2. To free Cyrus from any deal and to not make any deal with him again. 3. To release his dad from the whatever hell he's still in. And yeah, that was the deal that they made. And then Iblis has no choice but to leave, but Iblis also, in his last moments before leaving Cyrus's body, said that Alize has made a terrible mistake making enemies with the devil. After the devil leaves, Cyrus isn't breathing, and everybody's like so worried. Alize confesses to him and is crying, and then Cyrus finally breathes, and his bloodbound is like over, and he's no longer in control of the devil, and he has died, but then again he has lived through the death. So it just rewrote their entire destinies. What can I say? So it was just amazing. This complex roller coaster of emotions that I felt reading this book was uncomparable. Not to the Shatter Me series by Tahereh Mafi, but yeah, it was really unparalleled. Like, very rare. It was very rare to find this book was just so enjoyable. And it wasn't like that slow-paced as the other books from the same series was. So, I tell you to give it a try. Thank you so much for listening. I'm going to make videos about the previous videos. You can check it out. Bye-bye!